Woo! Hey there everybody, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. What? Some of you might be thinking, hey, that area looks familiar. Yes, that's right. I just got done recording a video a little while ago and I had to wrap it up because I'm a little behind on everything with weather and the trip and a whole bunch of other stuff. And we are here today to introduce you back to Ruby. Of course, many of you guys have already seen that video. Short, little dorky video, but I did it. Well, the stuff that was behind me in that video is over here, and I wanted to share it with you because this is one of the first projects I'm going to share with all of you on the adventure bill. So to get started, let me open up the tailgate. I'll set you guys down. We'll get the box and I'll explain to you what's happening. So welcome back to the channel, gang. If you're new to the channel, my name's Chad, your gracious host here at CK Knife and Tool. The tool part is yours truly. No, it is all the other things that I deal with. All tools, meaning what I use in my shop to build things with, make things with, such as wood projects, knives, and what I do on my builds. Previously, in the last few years, actually the last 5.5 years, I've been the proud owner of a 2017 Nissan Titan. During that time period, I'd worked on who we named Trip. I worked on that Nissan Titan, and we added things on periodically and did some great trips with it. Went to Michigan, various trips to Oregon and Eastern Washington, as well as through Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho. Had a lot of good memories with Trip, but it came to the point where I was getting a little tired of the rooftop tent. Not that it's a bad thing. It's a really good thing for folks starting out or folks that rarely go out to do things and want something inexpensive to get started in overlanding and camping. I am not going to ever badmouth the rooftop tent because that's what led me to this. So I really like it. We still have our Guan equipment, the Wanaka, and it's a really nice tent. It's held up all these years. I've had it for 4 or 5 years now and very pleased with it. We're just going to be moving on to something else. We, meaning me, because once I got to a certain point in age and start working and doing things, I'm like, you know, I didn't want to be climbing around on the top of the truck and on top of the canopy and everything, doing the rooftop tent tucking and all that. So I'm going to be going and adding some new things to Ruby here, my Ram 2500, and going to be building it up to make an adventure build. So this is the first video of that series, or one of the first videos. The intro would probably be the first video of that series. So with that being said, this box is one of the first things I'm going to be doing, and being that it's October in Wyoming, we are getting short on very warm days. The inside of my building here, it's not heated. It is insulated, but it's not heated. And what I want to do is a little bit temperature sensitive, so I got to do it today and the rest of this weekend to get going on it. Anyhow, I digress. What are we doing? Well, today I plan on filling my bed with paper because that's the way to protect everything. No. Many of you have already known this product, but it is Raptor liner. There we go. We are going to Raptor line the bed of old Ruby. Ruby actually had a bed liner in it originally, and it wasn't something that I was super excited to have deal with, especially with some of the other things I plan on doing with her. So what I ended up doing is I bought a 8-piece kit. I think this was, yep, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8-piece kit, which is basically a 2-part kit. The little bit I learned between several companies, I watched a ton of videos, and one of the things I learned is between the U-POL Raptor liner, which I think are in Sweden or something, decades, I mean like 20, 30 years. For the Raptor liner, the U-POL, and been really, really well liked in a lot of communities, off-road and otherwise. And there was another one called Herculiner. What my application is, the bed of my truck is not going to be exposed to the elements after everything is said and done. So that's another little hint for you. But I decided to go just basic black Raptor liner. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be prepping out the truck like they recommend you to do, and like I've seen on many videos before. Sand, clean, acetone, mask off, maybe sand a little bit more, probably spray a little bit of primer inside there, here and there in some spots to help everything bond, the adhesion process, and then just go from there. And I'm also going to have to read too, because they talk about this is the hardener and you got to measure out the hardeners and all this, and I don't see a measuring cup, and I might have to go out to get a measuring cup because I got these big cans here, and I'm sure they're going to tell me to add a certain amount of this into one of these and I got to read some directions, and that's the boring part. So I'm going to go ahead and get everything else prepped out. I'll let you know if anything changes, and we'll get started. Okay guys, taking a break here for a second. So far things are going okay, right? No turning back now, huh? That's for sure. Sorry the audio's a little off because I don't have a lavalier mic on and I don't have a bunny butt on there either, but so far that's what it's like. It's turning good. It's just tedious work. I've been at it for about 45 minutes now, and I go ahead and I spray air on everything as I'm sanding so it doesn't gum up the discs as much. But you go through discs quite a bit. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 discs so far I've already gone through. So there's that. I'm gonna put you guys down here for a second. I just grabbed this. You could do a dust mask easy enough if you want one of those paper ones. That'd be fine. I just had this hanging there, so I just grabbed it in the shop. But it's pretty good. It's pretty easy going. I don't think the initial part, hand sanding with the Jitterbug, the orbital sander. I've got a Milwaukee cordless and I got the DeWalt corded. The DeWalt corded seems to have a little bit more oomph than the Milwaukee does, but it is what it is. So I did switch over to the corded. And also I bought some of these discs from one of our box stores, but they're generic ones. I didn't go to Home Depot. I went to Menards, and Menards, their discs, they got 4 holes. They don't match. They don't match the Milwaukee and they don't match DeWalt. So I don't know what they match, but they don't match either one of my sanders. And if they don't match the holes, then the discs clogs up a lot more versus having one at the holes. So like that vacuuming kind of thing helps keep the buildup on the discs. So if you're looking to go on a cheap, which I did, I thought maybe I'd buy some discs and they were inexpensive. I was already there at Menards. Wrong disc. So it's basically a waste of money at that point. Why they don't make them universal, even though they're supposed to be universal, I don't know why, but that is what it is. So stick with Home Depot's, the Diablos, I think is what I'm using. That matches both the Milwaukee and the DeWalt hole patterns. 120 grit, 100 grit, thereabout, or 120 grit is what they recommend. The abrasive, the discs I'm using now are 120 grit, but I also have 60 and 80 grit sandpaper and pads, which I'll be going back and getting all the nooks and crannies and all the hard places that the orbital sander won't reach. We'll be doing that. I'm gonna try to conscript somebody else to come out and help me to make fast work of this, because I definitely want to make sure it's completely cleaned really well and do a lot of the good prepping and then spray. We have beautiful weather right now. I'm gonna open the doors back up again for more of this, so it doesn't make very good for recording. So if you don't have a lot of B-roll footage, that's on me. I'm just getting this beautiful sun is beating right through the garage door, so I'm trying to keep that open, get the airflow and a little bit of breeze coming in here to help with everything. But everything else is working out okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start sanding this again. I'll bring you guys back on more of the prep and paint. Okay, well, we got it. Look at that. Isn't that just beautiful? Well, we got it all sanded. Ben came out, Ella came out. Ben and I got the rest of it sanded down. Did pretty good. Some pros and cons, I would have to say. Let me get you guys down right here. Okay. First off, I really like the Diablo 120. That worked really good. We got the most longevity out of the Diablo 120. I would have rather used an 80 or something, an 80 120, or more like an 80 100, but didn't have it. And I don't want to run all the way back into town just to get it. So we did 120s, but it worked really good. The 120 Diablo on both the Milwaukee and the DeWalt didn't really clog up all that bad. We didn't really have to blow the discs down. Like I said, I used those Menards cheap ones or whatever like that, and the holes, only one out of all the holes lined up, and they clogged all the time, so they're basically just a waste. But the Diablo 120, if you can get maybe a 80 or 100, that would work good. Then we went ahead with hand sanding, and we used a block for hand sanding, as well as just sheets, and those are both in 80 grit, and that seemed to work really good too, and abrade everything. The goal is just to make things not shiny. Get all the original paint sanded down so it's got something for the U-POL, the Raptor liner, to bond to. There is raw metal in here. As you sand and you do stuff, you end up getting some high spots that are sanded down to bare metal. But what I went and did is I bought Raptor liner primer, and the reason why I bought Raptor liner primer is to hit areas that are bare metal, as well as areas that you really have a hard time getting in with your hand, and you're not getting a really good abrasive finish on the material, the body. So what you're doing is you're going to hit it with the primer, because that's meant to bond to that and then help the Raptor liner finished product adhere to everything. So I bought a couple of cans. I figured I was only going to need one can, but I bought two since I was going into town. I bought two anyhow. So the next thing is we're going to go ahead and we're going to clean off the truck, and we're going to acetone everything that we hand sanded and clean that all up really good, and then blow it again with the compressor, and then probably once again hit it with acetone and start taping everything off. And if there's any areas that need to be sanded down still, we'll go ahead and sand those by hand, hit those with the acetone, clean it all, and then we'll be ready for paint. So let's get started. Alrighty, gang. Okay, so just got done. We cleaned everything. It's primed. I use this. They talk about priming some of the more raw steel, as well as areas that are more troublesome when you can't get in there and sand really well, or maybe as happy as you might like. Also, any type of rust or any other little issues and imperfections with the metal, they talk about using a primer. So I bought a couple of cans. I used one can. It did pretty good. As you'll see here, I got a lot of it done. I did the corners of the bed, as well as right around the wheel wells and at the tailgate opening. And then basically I just ran a really light coat over a lot of the other areas, kind of just to use up the can. I didn't want to save, half a can or a third of a can. So I did that there, but we got it all masked off and plastic over everything. So at this point, all we're going to do is go ahead and let this primer dry for an hour, go have some lunch, come back out, and then it's just go ahead and we're going to start hitting it with the Raptor liner. I got some cardboard, so I'm going to do a little test on it, but they run it 40 to 60 PSIs, and they tell you to do like a little test sample to see how you like your textured pattern. Now, I'm not shooting for a really aggressive pattern. If anything, I want it really fine, because I got some other things I plan on doing here, so I don't need that huge, thick, aggressive pattern. Also, you can do up to 3 coats, and I think the 4-can kit, the 4-piece kit that I have, sorry about that, it'll do 125 square feet, somewhere about that. So a 6.5 foot bed like I have is good for a 4-can kit, the 4-piece kit. I bought 2 of those, so I'm hoping to do 1 full coating today, and then I'm gonna let it sit a day. So today's a Saturday, so I'm gonna get this all sprayed today, and they say you can do a second coat after an hour. But what I wanna do is, I've got the weekend, we've got a couple more days of really good weather, actually up to 70 on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. So I'm gonna let this sit when I do the coat today, and on either Sunday afternoon or on Monday, I'll come back out here again and I'll mask everything off again, and then I'll do a second final coat, and I should be good to go there. Again, I will use the bed for putting stuff in, like I did trip, you know, for lumber or what have you, but because of what I plan on doing, I don't see that being an issue, having too much abuse or wear and tear, even though I think the Raptor liner should be able to handle it from what I've seen. So anyhow, I'll let you guys go. I'll get back to you when we're gonna start spraying. See you in a bit. Alrighty, everybody, we got it done. That's the first coat. That was 4 bottles. As I was saying earlier, I bought a 2-pack. The 2-pack was 4 bottles each. I think it was saying in the directions, I think 4 bottles did about 125 square feet or so. 4 bottles was literally just enough to get this bed done. I went back in a few spots and hit it. The biggest concern is I want to get a good thick coat on the tailgate here, as well as the bed liner, the bottom part. The walls I'm not worried about as much, but definitely really good. Okay, gang, so like I was saying, applied really good. Some of the directions, at least what we were seeing, and I thought maybe I was seeing something that was odd, but the directions were telling you only mix 1 bottle at a time, clean the gun between each bottle. You can't do that. You absolutely cannot do that. First off, cleanup is miserable. We ended up using acetone to clean things up, but gloves on and soaking it. And actually the nozzle of the gun, everything is still actually soaking. I was using those wood stick Q-tips you use for like cleaning rifles and such. I was using that to clean. It's just absolutely miserable to do it. So if you had something big that you can soak stuff, and if you have like maybe a barrel brush for like a 22 or a 9mm or something, you can run it through the tube and clean some of that. That's definitely what you need to do to clean up the gun and the nozzle. When I bought 2 kits, and this is where I kind of got a bone to pick with the company, I bought 2 kits. They only sent me 1 gun. And I bought the kit. The kit was supposed to come with 4 bottles of the liner and then 1 bottle of the hardener and then a spray gun. Well, I bought 2 kits. because I wanted 2 guns just in case. Well, they only sent me 1 gun. So that was kind of a big negative Nancy on their part. Really displeased with that. Because it didn't dawn on me until I was working through all this stuff. I didn't mention it, that I realized, hey, I only had 1 gun. So with that being said, cleanup is kind of tough and miserable. And I'd say if you were done with all of this and you weren't going to do any more, saving that can, going through all that to clean it, to save it, I don't know if you'd really want to do that. But with that said, because they only sent me 1 and I still have 4 more bottles, I have another whole coat to put on this. I had to clean it out and I got to soak it and make sure it's all good to go. Suffice to say, as you guys see though, the finish is really good. I did run it closer to that 50, 60 PSI mark. The gun comes with a little gauge on the bottom of it, but I had my compressor set for about, I think it was 80 PSIs on the compressor. The gun seemed to always hover between that 60 and 80, so I'm not sure how accurate that gauge is they give you that is on the top, the bottom of the gun there. Also, the gun does not come with a male adapter for your compressor line. So your compressor is a female end that usually put your gun to, like your nail gun or your blower or anything. This right here. Okay, I'm back. That right there. It does not come with this. But anyhow, so yeah, that was the other thing. I'm glad I had it because we already were mixing a hardener and I pulled the gun up, put it together, and I realized, dang it, there's no connection. So I ran over to my kit, I had one, some thread tape real quick, put it on there, took about maybe 45 seconds, got it on and started going. We did mix 2 initial bottles, and as I was spraying one, Kasha would be walking around and shaking the other one. It says to mix thoroughly for 2 minutes. So if you're doing it by hand, give that at least 4 or 5 minutes if you're just standing around shaking it and moving it around. So she walked around and did it and kept that mix going so nothing solidified in the bottle, because we didn't know if you just mixed them and you let them sit there, would they actually harden in the bottle or not. So we kept them moving and shaking. So I made 2, I started spraying one, she mixed the other. And then when I got to that second one, Ella mixed a third, and then she gave it to Kasha so she could still video. And then when I used the third one, Ella made the fourth, and then they did that. So it took all 4 bottles. It's definitely well needed. Again, a 6.5 foot bed, 2500 the Nissan. It's gonna take me forever to not say that. The Ram. So definitely get the 4 bottle kit if you're gonna do this again. If you wanna do 2 coats, you're gonna need 8 bottles. They do say give it an hour before you apply a second coat. I'm done for today. I'm not gonna do it again. I'm just gonna clean up, get everything going. Today again is Saturday. I'm gonna do a second coat on a Monday. I'm gonna do that and wrap it all up. I'm not gonna bother filming it. Maybe I'll just show you what it looks like afterwards, but honestly, it's not gonna change much from what it is now, so we'll see. Otherwise, I am happy. The next day after what you just saw, and I went ahead and I just finished the second coat. I'm letting it set up for a little bit. They say when you spray it, you can't leave your tape on. You have to peel it off, but give it like 15, 20 minutes and then peel it off. So what I also did is I turned around and the side steps here on Ruby were that chrome kind of finish, but it was kind of like peeling up. Apparently, they stopped using these side steps. They offer a different type of side step now. And I want to get side steps later for Ruby, but I'm not really sure when that's going to happen. And I'm really on the fence of what kind. Trip had the NFABs, and I liked them, but like a lot of people have complaints about. The good thing is they're good steel, welded construction, and they're made in the USA. The bad news is the powder coat just chipping off and busting off and everything. And whereas where I'm at, it's not very rusty environment, but it's still nonetheless kind of annoying, and that's the huge complaint with the NFABs. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with side steps. I definitely don't know if I want to do amp research, because everyone I see, they have one or more of them just in the stuck down position, and that's because they break arms. In our climate, with the ice buildup in the snow, sometimes they don't close all the way and it causes problems. So I digress. I took off the original ones. I took a grinder to them. I ground them all down. I was going to take the pad off, but there's so many tabs inside the body, the steel body of the step. There's so many tabs sticking out that I was worried about trying to peel it up, breaking a few tabs, and then the pad wouldn't sit that tight. So what I did is I ground the entire thing down, and I bought the etching acid etch primer right here. Here, see that? Acid etch primer. I bought this. 1 can was enough. I did both running boards afterwards. This is good for galvanized steel and all sorts of raw steel, painted steels, rusty stuff, everything. you have to use this with that type of product, so that type of material. So I ground everything down, I acid etched the entire thing, this primer, and then I taped off just the top of the pad, and then I Raptor lined the entire thing. So I used about half a bottle of that on the steps. So hopefully that's gonna buy me a year or two, and then I can figure out what I'm gonna do from there. Again, this isn't a high dollar build. There is gonna be some fairly expensive products maybe that some folks might be like, I can't do that, but I'm gonna try to save money when I can, where I can. Otherwise, I'm going to probably spend a good amount of money on a really good product, because it's that theory, buy once, cry once. So with that said, acid etch primed them, sprayed them. Hopefully that's gonna work out well. I used another can and I put a second coat on the tailgate, as well as the bed and the wheel wells, and that back bar, the headliner there or whatever, that back bar over there. Even though once this gets covered, it'll never be touched again, but I did want to keep that protected. But I did put another second coat on this, so this is really good and thick. It looked really good. After this morning we came back out, it's really glossy at first, and then after a day or so it gasses off, and then it goes, it's not a matte finish, but it's not as shiny of a finish, so it's really good. And I have other things that are going to be happening, so it's good to go there. But anyhow, I wanted to share it with y'all. That's where I'm at now. Side steps are done. Bed's done. I am finished. I'm gonna start cleaning up, and I'm gonna let you go. So Ella, thank you for your editing skills and working this in. Everybody else, we'll see you in the next video. Remember, like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. Oh, and also cleaning. A jar of acetone, stick the gun in the jar, spray it with the compressor. The acetone gets sucked up through the tube, cleans out the gun, cleans out the tube. Instant gratification. I should have thought about that the first time. I thought about it the second time though. So have a good one, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.